Guys, hope everybody is doing well. Today is April 1st, 2022. And so it's April Fool's Day, but today we're going to dive in a little bit and be pretty serious about this, man, because this is some good stuff going on over here in crypto land. And so I just want to go ahead and give a overview of the overall market. So we'll start with Bitcoin. We'll take a look at some other coins as well, and just kind of talk about kind of what are some things that we can do while we are waiting for Bitcoin to just decide, hey, what is it going to do? But let's go ahead and dive in and do just that. So here I have Bitcoin on the weekly chart. And I just want to talk about this really quickly because I just always want to keep the perspective in mind. So mind you, we see these arrows here, these green and red arrows. That's the track that I'm keeping of the 60-day cycles. And so that's a concept that we'll dive deeper into in a little bit. But really quickly, I wanted to just focus and talk about just time. So this is Bitcoin at the beginning of 2021. So if we go to January 2021, this is the weekly chart. The price was about $32,000. And during that time, throughout the year, we've seen it go up 65,000, kind of come back down, go up to $69,000, kind of come back down. And now we're kind of seeing some more positive price action the last 3 weeks. Now, with that being said, we could easily say that Bitcoin has kind of ranged in between, this area here. So majority of the price action has been in between these 2 points, right? And so whenever we see Bitcoin kind of like in these channels, this is what we call an accumulation range. And so kind of when you're buying here at the top, it doesn't feel very good, when you kind of lose 40 or 50% of the portfolio. And sometimes you just don't know what to do, so you just sell. Well, I just want to get you guys to understand why you never sell at a loss, because there's always something positive just right around the corner if you just keep holding. But the big thing is if you can dollar cost average these lows so throughout the year, right? So July last year was a great opportunity, to be buying cryptocurrency. Here again in early 2022, so January and February, and even last month as well, March. We want to learn how to be able to buy these lows to really not have to deal with any of this downside risk, right? So that's what I'm all about, and that's what I'm here to kind of hopefully teach you guys through time, is how to pay attention to the market to where when we have good pricing. You want to do all your buying down here, and then this is how you get those good risk-adjusted returns. And mind you, we're not day trading on the daily. We want to be able to hold good stuff because for tax reasons, right? We want to at least hold coins for at least 1 year through time. And that's how we mitigate having to pay the IRS, 40 or 50% of our capital gain, right? So we want to get that down to more like 15 or 20% so we can take more money into our pockets. And in that way we can help ourselves, our families, and just be able to, utilize our funds in a better way. So with that being said, I just want to kind of talk a little bit about, where did we come from? So 2020 was a big year, right? And so you see there was a big old price just bump, right? But I want to kind of show you guys, look what happened the year previous. And you could very much say it was a similar accumulation range. So if we kind of do this, so through time, you kind of see it just kind of bounced up and down in between these prices for a year and some change. But then at some point it broke out. And this narrative has happened for Bitcoin a gajillion times. Like, we can keep going. Let's follow it back. Same thing here. We could say, boom, kind of just channeled in between here, right? But the main thing is, if we pay attention, if we're able to capture these lows, that's where all the gains come from, right? And then we break out of the channel. Same thing, channel, then we break out. And so as we kind of zoom in, that's where we're at again. So let me clean this up a little bit. So same thing, we're in this channel. At some point, we're going to break out. That's what Bitcoin has always done for about 12 years. And so the key thing is to stay patient, stay cognitive of the price action, and we just want to keep snatching these lows within this channel. And so as you can see, we're getting higher lows. So if you look at this white line here, through time, for almost the past 8-9 months, we've been getting higher lows. So if we take the bottom of this wick, we go here, here, and we're getting higher lows. That's a very, very positive sign saying, hey, it looks like it's about time to break out of this channel. It's only just a matter of time. So I just want to give you guys that insight before we dive a little bit deeper. So now let's go ahead and take a look at more recent time here. So back in November, we had the high, all-time high for Bitcoin, sitting around $69,000. And, you know, the narrative and what we've been talking about for the last 4 or 5 months is, you know, we've been on this big downtrend. And so early in January, when I started this Telegram group, I was encouraging you guys to say, hey, you know, these are just some of the best prices that we're probably going to see for a while. Go ahead and eat up. So grab all those good altcoins, you know, and even back here in early February and especially in March, I'm saying, hey, we're still within range to be buying some decent coins during that time. And so as you can see, now that we've gotten to March, we had a lot of good positive price action, but by the end of the week, it got sold down. But finally, these last 2 weeks, we've had some just good progress of just good, you know, a lot of people buying Bitcoin, holding on to it. And we've noticed a lot of things on the on-chain data supporting this as well. So this week was a good positive week for Bitcoin. We've got another positive week, and now we're here on this week. And as of right now, we would need it to basically close above 48,000 to turn this candle green. And we got about, you know, almost 2 days to do so. So we'll see what happens. And we'll look at Bitcoin on the daily. But the biggest thing is that we were able to break this moving average here. This 50-day moving average was broken. And that's always a positive sign, because if you realize, anytime that we're above that 50-day moving average, we have positive price action. So if we look back here, we bounced off the 50-day moving average, or 50-week moving average in this case, came up, wicked down to it, but then we used that support, came up, and then we finally broke it. And then so now we're back on top. So the key thing to look for is to say, hey, can we stay on top of this for a few weeks and then use that support? And generally when we do that, then we continue to head higher from there. So let's go ahead and dive a little bit deeper into the daily chart and take a look at some of the price action going on here in the last week or so. So the key thing is, now that we're a little bit zoomed in, is to take a look at a 60-day cycle perspective. So the last cycle previous, we had a low here on day 51, and we had a high on day 17. Now, since we had the high before day 30, typically that's bearish to neutral. So we didn't drop down and create a new low past this level here. We actually just kind of, you know, simmered around. We had a big week there, but then kind of came back down, and then we settled down here. And then so the actual low is calculated here at day 41, because if you notice from here, there wasn't a lower point within a reasonable time. So we take that and say, you know what, that is the low. So if we want to say, okay, well, how well are we doing for this cycle? We go ahead and we have this vertical line here. So this is day 30. So from March 7th, all we have to do is come over here to April 7th. And so let's go ahead and verify that that's correct, 30 days. And the goal is to say, okay, if we can get a high, so 31 days. So let's go ahead and move that back one day. There we go. So what we're trying to see is if we can get a new high. So currently the high for this cycle is at $48,000. If we can get a new high past day 30, typically that's bullish for the remainder, 15 to 35 days of this cycle, depending on how long it is. And so that is what we call a right translated cycle. So we've broken this long-term downtrend back here in February, and we've kind of stuck around and had a lot of just price action here in between about like 37 and about like $45,000, give or take. And so like here's like that $45,000 mark, but really like a good bulk of support in this cluster right here in between about like 38K and sitting here about like 42K. So we have a lot of support here in this area. And so I really don't see Bitcoin really dropping back down to these lows back here like we had in January because we've been so bullish coming off this low. So this buy box actually is pushed up because we have new data, new information. Before, the buy box was a little bit lower, and so we were here. And if you guys remember, I was kind of saying, hey, the best option to get like the low risk returns, right? Or if you were able to snatch anything in this buy box. And so we had this buy box lower here. So because we had the information from January, and so anytime in February and March, we kind of crept back down in here. So late February, you know, I know a lot of you guys, and I was kind of putting the Telegram group, go ahead and grab some here. And then also a couple days in March. But for the most part, we've been using this area as support. So now that we're in a new cycle, this buy box is adjust slightly higher, not too much. But in general, you know, like I was saying, hey, in especially in like late March, hey, if you guys have not gotten a good batch of crypto, now is the time. And then exactly what had happened towards the end of March, we just popped out. And so now we want to see, okay, well, if we do get a little bit more bearish and we do come back down, then a great time to be buying. We'll be back in this box. So if Bitcoin never drops below like that 43K range, okay, go ahead and start to DCA. But for now, just take what you got and then just let's ride on up and see how high we can go until we hit a new cycle, and then we'll have more information about where to put this buy box. So let's go ahead and take a look at our tools and indicators and see, okay, well, where can we go? So the major thing is to look at is like we had this high 2 cycles ago, and it's sitting right here about 51.9. So I have a price alert here. The thing is, if we get above this for a week and we sustain that, I really could see us having not a problem getting back up into those 60K range. And you know, and typically with April being the best month for Bitcoin for the past 8 to 10 years, you know, things are looking pretty positive. So we'll see if we can keep things together. But one thing I want to kind of zoom in and pay attention to was, so here, this is the 200-day moving average. And as you can see, as we started this ascent, we got knocked down. And then so the goal is, I have this other price alert here. If we can get back above this $48,000 range, that's going to be really, really, really good for Bitcoin, and thus very good for the rest of crypto. And so if we want to look at this from a 60-day cycle perspective, what we're looking for is to hopefully kind of, you know, have this 30-day low, which we normally do, but somewhere in between like April like 12th to maybe the 24th or 25th, see a new high past 48K. And that's going to give us some, you know, most of the time, not guaranteed, but majority of the time with the 6-day cycles, that gives us this good positive price action for the remainder of that cycle. And so that's going to be really, really good because typically, you know, that'll allow the altcoins to fly. And that's where we're going to get a lot of good appreciation and good positive price action for the coins that we're holding. And so let's go ahead and kind of talk about some scenarios here. Or, well, before that, let's go ahead and look at a few indicators. So if we want to look at the Bollinger Bands, as you can see, we've been pushing the top of this Bollinger Band here. And any time that we go from like the middle or the bottom of the Bollinger Band, we push to the top of the Bollinger Band for quite a while. Look, we did this for like a week straight. It's healthy for us to pull back. Like nothing can just go up forever. So I'm glad that we pulled back a little bit. And we found like a local low, and then now for the past 2 days, it seems like we're kind of staying even and kind of trending up a little bit. So the good thing about, you know, the cycle was like we came impulsive off of this little triangle that we were in, right? And then so this is some really, really good price action. And then so if we want to take a look at a couple of other things, so let's do a Fib retracement and say, okay, well, what are the possibilities here? And so what you'll see is also that from this low, so we take the low from the cycle, take it to the top of where we were. And what you notice is we came right back down to that 0.382 Fib level, which is the healthy pullback range before we are heading back up. And then so like I'm saying, we want to go ahead and break that 48K to continue on higher past here and feel confident about that. And so if we kind of also look at the Elliott Wave from just a short-term perspective, right? there's kind of like a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this fifth wave, if we can get the inertia to keep going higher, that's also going to be a good positive indicator. And so let's kind of break that out and see, kind of how that's going to look. So, or you know what, I'll actually just kind of do it here live, or this is recorded video, but I'm live. So anyways, bad joke. Let me keep going. So if we want to look at this from an Elliott Wave perspective, we go from where we started getting bullish. So there's the wave 1, down to wave 2. 3 is the most impulsive, the healthy pullback for 4, and then 5. So to see where we could end up for this wave 5, we just go ahead and do this retracement here. So from that high, bring it back down. And what will be healthy is for us to go somewhere right here around that 50K, in between this 2.6 range here and 54K. So at worst, but to be steadily bullish with this Elliott Wave count, getting to 50K is very much doable within, the next week or so. So that's what we'll be looking to see to be on point with our Elliott Wave count, right? And then so that'll be a good thing to see. And so now that we've kind of broken down Bitcoin, basically hold off on buying any crypto right now. And if we get this thing roll over, right, and we see that past day 30 is just kind of like we're chopping. And, typically if we have that day, that high, so if we have the high, because this looks like the high is here on the 28th, so let's kind of see, that would give us a high on day 22. And then so typically, like I said, when we have a high before day 30, what happens is we kind of roll over and come back down. So we're looking for that high somewhere over here, but if we don't get it, expect to be able to buy some more crypto somewhere within this box. And so that's like the other scenario. But from what I'm seeing is we're pretty impulsive. So we're looking to go ahead and complete this Elliott Wave to this wave 5 here. And so those are kind of like the two scenarios that we're looking at for Bitcoin. So now from here, I also wanted to go ahead and talk about Phantom. So Phantom was a coin that I was telling you guys. I put an alert in the Telegram groups to say, hey, if you guys haven't gotten any of this coin, I've had this coin for a while, and right now is a decent time because they got some good catalysts coming up. And on their, their Elliott Wave chart, things are looking pretty good. So let's go ahead and let's go look at some big picture things for Phantom, so I can give a little bit more background, but then we'll also zoom in and kind of look at some things closer. So let's type in Phantom, and let's see here. Where do I want to go? So I want to go to this chart here. Let's check the Binance charts. Okay. So what I've done here, and we're going to go into, crypto history mode, because it's always important, especially if you're buying something, it's always important to know, well, what was the history of this coin through time? So Phantom is in, a big macro Elliott Wave pattern. And so if I were to go ahead and plot it out for us, it looks something like this. So from these lows, 1, retracement back here to 2, 3, 4, and a 5. And then now we're on that ABC correction, right? And so for ABC correction, what do we normally see? And it's crazy because Phantom is almost like the perfect chart to do an example on this coin. And then so for ABC correction, it's from here, A, B, and then C. And then you start a new Elliott Wave, and it starts the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then so on, right? And so if we just take a look, and we're looking at time again, and we're going to look at price action. So when we get to a bottom of an Elliott Wave, as you can see, there's just these bullish phases, right? So you have a bullish phase here in blue, and during this time, it went up 2,660%. So that's 26x on your money. But then, if you notice, we come sideways to down, right? So we range, right? Like we were talking about for Bitcoin, we kind of range in between an area. And that was for quite a while because, so if you think about it, that bullish period was 168 days, and the sideways chop to down action was 120 days. Now, what happens when we're done with that sideways chop? Another bullish phase. So during this time, 5,580%. So that's 55x on your money. And that happened through a span of 2 months. It's a great return in 2 months, might I say. And so what happens after that? It spends an elongated time in this range. and it goes up a little bit, but it eventually comes back down. And what you'll notice is every single time, what does it do? It comes and tests this 50-day moving average. So test it here, and what do you know? Testing it here. So a lot of confluence coming together, right? So after we hit this sideways chop action, another bullish phase, 23x on your money over about 100 days, 98 days. And then we go sideways for 140 days. And then so if you notice, I got this white line indicating that like that trend, because it's trending down through time, trending down. And what do you know? We come back down here and we test that 50-day moving average. And if we want to go ahead and pull out the Bollinger Bands, same story. We come and push down all these Bollinger Bands, and we get to the bottom of the Bollinger Bands. So what's next is to push to the top of the Bollinger Band and then push that Bollinger Band up. And we see this over and over again with a lot of different coins. And so what I was kind of telling you guys, and what I did, because I've had this coin for quite a bit of while. I start kind of dollar cost averaging this coin at about like 75 cents, 75 to 90 cents in between there. And then so the all-time highs, things were really good, about $3.35, and we've come back down to a very attractive point, gotten down to this 50-day moving average. So kind of what we're seeing, we're on the weekly chart, but we're seeing this positive price action, 3 big weeks in a row. And then so I put an alert out in the Telegram group here in March, and I was saying, hey guys, if you don't have any Phantom, now's a good time to be picking some up, because I was grabbing some at about like $1, $5, $10. And then so if you want to go ahead and look at some of the increase from that point. So if you guys, took heed to the alert that I kind of put in the chat, let's say you got in, let's say $1.15. It's heading positive. And then so we got some great price action. And so you should be up around 40%. And so what we'll look to see from Phantom is to get some good positive price action, as Bitcoin does as well. And so just the catalyst for Phantom is they are going from EVM to FVM. So they are basically getting off of Ethereum, kind of copying a lot of things that Ethereum did, and they're kind of formulating a new virtual machine is what they call it. And basically that just increases the throughput, makes transactions even cheaper, and just more usability, because as of right now, Phantom is one of the most used layer ones in all of DeFi, and they have a lot of total value locked. And there's rumblings, and why I'm kind of telling you guys, trying to put you guys on this now, is there may be a Coinbase listing coming up in the next 6 months. And so we're trying to get out ahead before the hype. And then because what we're looking for is one of these bullish phases to where we can do some nice X's. And so hopefully, we should be able to see something good. Even a 5X would be nice, but if we can get a nice 23X or above, I think we'll all be pretty happy, right? And so this is the power of crypto. So if we want to say, okay, well, where could we go? Let's go ahead and look at the Phantom chart that I have a little bit more detail on. So let's go here. Phantom. So same thing here. Now I've been tracking the cycles for Phantom, and it's fairly close to Bitcoin as well. And let's go ahead and put this on the daily chart. And so each one of these white lines represents Fibonacci level to the upside. So for example, if we take, and we just passed the first one, which is a great indicator for us to continue to stay bullish. And then the next resistance is what we'll probably see for Phantom is sitting right here with this 200-day moving average as well. As long as Bitcoin is doing good, this will outpace Bitcoin dramatically. And, we'll see, prices hopefully up to about $2. But if we want to do a Fib retracement from the top, so we grab our Fib retracement tool from all-time highs, bring it back down to the lows, and boom, there you go. So as you can see, each level. And if we can basically break through this 0.5, then I see us having no issue basically getting back to the top. And so this is similar as room, like we were talking about before, is how we could have a lot of price action and head to the top of this channel and then hopefully break it. And so what you notice is at each Fibonacci level, we'll kind of trend up, and then we hit it, tapped it one day, and then we broke through it. And then so what you'll notice is kind of each level here. So this 0.236, once we break through it, stay on top of that for a few days. yeah, we're going up to this next part here. So we'll be looking at Phantom closing in on hopefully about like $1.90, but really most likely getting a little resistance here off of this 200-day moving average. And so Rune followed the same pattern, if you guys remember, how we had the lows and consistent lows here. And it is in a descending triangle, right? And so what the play is to, hopefully grab it in these lower parts and go ahead and ride this thing up. Probably have a little bit of a resistance here, but once we hopefully break that, we continue on higher and get to the top of this range. And so we have broken the downtrend for Phantom literally, which is another good sign. We broke this downtrend here for Phantom about 2 days ago. And then so the thing is, we would like to see this sustain. And if you pay attention, we've been getting a lot of good price action. So let's pop on this VPR to kind of see where is just the good support for Phantom. And like right here. So you see that these lines kind of sticking out a little bit further. There's a lot of good support here. And we're in this like hollow channel. So this is pretty good. And as you can see, there's some major resistance at these levels that I'm talking about. And it's crazy how this stuff lines up because there's just a lot of people who have bought in here at these levels that haven't sold yet. And so, basically if you kind of pay attention, right, that resistance kind of starts here at about $2. And that lines up also with that 200-day moving average like we're talking about. And the major resistance is here. And that lines up with the Fibonacci. So all this confluence is coming together. And this is how we do technical analysis to understand what the heck is going on. And so, yeah, Phantom is looking pretty good. Like I really see Phantom not having any trouble. If you haven't got anything now, it'll be a decent time. Not the best, right? The best was, when we're talking about it down here. But if you want to get into something really good, this is a coin that I have no problem suggesting to basically anybody who wants to jump in crypto. And this coin has been continued to prove itself over and over. And its technology, that's the thing is, the total value that it has locked up on its exchange. But not only that, but the low gas fees that it has and just some of the things that Phantom is doing on the ecosystem is kind of cutting edge in all of crypto. And so this is why Phantom is going to continue to be one of those layer ones that are going to continue to keep climbing those ranks and just becoming more of a household name. And believe it or not, we're still very early because it's not household name like Ethereum quite yet or Solana, but it's on its way there. And so even if we kind of get up to this moving average, that's a 22% gain. But also to this major resistance point, that's about another 33% gain. Now from the top of this channel, you're probably looking at close to hopefully like a double here. And so if we're wanting to calculate what the returns may look like if everything stays bullish with Bitcoin, we got a nice double if you're kind of buying here around this $1.10, $1.15 range, give or take 155%, which is really good. So to give us an opportunity to de-risk ourselves if you have never done that for this coin, and then go ahead and protect your downside and then let the rest of what you have just ride for the rest of the year and, serve you pretty well from there. So Phantom is looking good. Let's also do a checkup on Solana. Oh, can I spell? There we go, Solana. There we go. Let's choose this chart here. So I've got a lot of good CA going here, but same thing for Solana, right? So I'm always talking about these layer ones because, these are the coins that we can hold for long periods of time and know that, hey, if we did get some downwards price action, it would be okay. So for me, Solana, I love Solana. I was able to hop on the Solana boat down here. And so that's why I'm talking about these different Elliott waves, right? So let me clear this out a little bit. Where we have these impulses, right? So we're just waiting for that next impulse, but I was able to be a part of this impulse here at the bottom of this wave 4. So I was buying Solana at about, $20 to $25. So I was able to catch all this, and we just got a big impulse wave here, which was awesome to see. So that was a wave 5. And so, with that being said, we're on that downtrend, and we found these lows here. And so I had this box here from, a long time ago, from the beginning of March, so for a whole month, and we crept in just quite a bit. So I was able to DCA some of this, but for the most part, I've already de-risked myself from Phantom, and so I'm just really looking to just accumulate more. So I accumulated more. Not quite in this box for me. I'll be transparent. I bought a little bit more around like that $90 to $100 because I wanted to just confirm that we're in that uptrend. So I really want to get above this 50-day moving average. So I started buying. So yeah, about that $90 range. But since then, we've been doing pretty well. And then so what I'm thinking about for Solana, we are in this ascending triangle. So that's looking really good. But I still think there may be one more good opportunity to grab some cheap Solana, but that's going to be more so towards the summer because it's in its ABC correction for its Elliott Wave pattern. But nonetheless, Solana's been something that's been doing pretty good. So next question is, okay, well, where can we go from here? So let's go ahead. And it doesn't look like it's having any pullback yet. So that's actually really, really bullish because Solana tends to do this. But if you were buying in that $100 range, you're up about 36% because it's 136 bucks. So what I'd like to see is Solana. So let's go ahead and do the Fib retracement from these tops. So top is right around there. And we see in our lows, boom, right there. So as we broke past this 0.236 Fibonacci level, we'll like to see it come up right here to about $147. And as you see, that's also lining up with the 200-day moving average. And, for ABC corrections, typically, we see it get somewhere in between here, between this 0.618 and this 0.786 Fib. But, Solana is just one of those coins. When it gets bullish, a lot of people recognize it. And then so a lot of people buy it when they see its price rapidly increasing. And so we may see this, maybe go back to all-time highs. We don't know. But nonetheless, this is just one of those other good coins that, is really good to hold through time. And so we want to snipe these lows. And then now is an okay time, not the best. But if you don't have any, maybe grab a little chunk. But we want to just kind of let what we do have ride out if we do have some. And we may have one more opportunity, potentially, to grab a little bit more cheap Solana here in, June. So like late May, June-ish, somewhere in there. Because it's on its ABC correction before it starts its new wave 1 for the next Elliott Wave. And so, yeah, this is looking pretty good. I did want to do an update on the Rune token. So recently, I actually just de-risked my position completely. And so that was like a swing trade that I was kind of telling you guys, and that's been our case study for the last about month and a half. So let's kind of rehash that for a little bit and we'll wrap up. So this is cool because we've been able to track this thing together and I've been kind of going through this, but I seen Rune. It was like one of the first coins to get on this pattern. So as you can see, we were talking about it being in this channel, right? So it had its all-time highs here in 2021 and it came back down, created support. And it's been in this triangle, this descending triangle, but keeping these lows as really solid support. And then so I seen when it was popping out here and I was saying, hey, if we pop back into this box, go ahead and grab some. So that's what I did. I did an allocation here and I grabbed some right at about $4. Now, it's been one great ride, So if we look at the Elliott Wave, we've had the wave 1. We caught it right here at the wave 2 and posted wave 3 down to 4. And 4 did not retrace back down as much as I thought because I actually de-risked and took my principal out here. So that was after I tripled my money, I doubled my money here, a little bit more than a double, and I took my principal out here, and I was hoping to throw it back right here, but it actually just stayed bullish, and then so my whole principal or my profit actually is still in, and that's done pretty well. And so what I recently did was I just de-risked myself here because I noticed it's just been getting just a lot of little resistance here the last 4 days. And so what I'm looking to hopefully see, I'm okay. I'm okay if it kind of comes up a little bit higher, but I'm playing and betting on the fact that, we may kind of adjust back down one more time. And who knows, we may break through it. But then what'll be actually really, really nice to see if we can just break through this. And, what I'll do is, typically when we have an outbreak, that's very bullish. And so I would be okay with just throwing a little bit more once we break through this. And so where could we go if we do break that point? And so we could very much, and what normally happens once we break this previous high, we go up and we get up to this next level here. So there would still be, give or take, a double for me to get if I want to go ahead and throw my profit back in at this point, and there will be a double that I could still get. But I'm protecting my downside by go ahead and de-risking myself completely. But like I said, I want to give you guys an example of what a swing trade would look like. And so that is the Thor chain play that was really good. And so what I'm hoping to see is that we kind of trend back down back at this channel and maybe get one more chance to do this one more time in that same time period in that June, July area. And so, yeah, guys, that's, some of the things that, I'm seeing right now. Crypto is looking pretty decent, but no reason to get super like overly bullish. We are not out of the weeds yet, I would say, until we kind of get in that 50K range, in that mid 50K range, and we stay there for a few weeks. Then I'm really bullish then after that. But until we get there, we're just kind of holding on to what we got. We're taking our coins. We're getting good yield on them. So, I know a lot of you guys out there are in the jewel gang, baby. So, we are staking our jewel and getting that really nice APR and earning free crystal token. And so, that's been pretty cool there. And so, with that being said, that's what I got for you. Didn't want to make this too long of a video, but that's just an update on what I'm seeing. Really quickly before I go, I did want to take a look at the fear and greed index to kind of see what is the sentiment of the market. Fear and greed. Let's go take a look. So let's go ahead and you can get the fear and greed index and take a look at that here at alternative.me. And so as of today, we are neutral. And so 52. So we aren't here in like the 80s and 90s where everybody is just extremely bullish. We're just kind of right there sitting in the middle. So like I always say, the preferred time to be buying crypto is when we pop back down. Here, let's do this on the last year. So the best time to be buying crypto is when we get in these severe like 25 or below ranges. So here 25, and in the month of February and March, last couple months, we stayed there for quite a bit of while, but as you kind of see, we popped out. And so, we add a little bit more risk if we're trying to buy here, because as you see, you bought here, we came just right back down on the fear and greed index. And typically this is a trailing indicator for the price of Bitcoin. And as you can see, these were the all-time highs. And so what we never want to be doing is buying any crypto. If anything, we want to be de-risking ourselves, because typically if we're buying here at these lows, we should have, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10X's on our money, right? On the coins that we have, when they do get to these all-time highs as far as fear and greed index goes. And so if we kind of want to look at some on-chain data as well before we head out, let's go into look into Bitcoin.com. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these charts. Okay, so I guess my Wi-Fi doesn't want to work. There we go. So you can take a look at the fear and greed index here. But also, just want to take a look at big picture, right? So big picture, Bitcoin profitable days. And so basically, 94.5% of people holding Bitcoin are in profit. The only people that are not in profit are the people who bought these tops here. But the gist of it is, if you just hold on, Bitcoin is going to continue to do its thing. It's going to range, but eventually, it pops out and it trends higher, right? So same thing. All these people have been able to take some profits, but all of them were in profit, and they had to hold in order to get those good gains, right? So that's what we are here for. So we're not trading back and forth. We are doing what just makes sense, buying good assets and holding them for long periods of time. And this is how, you really change your financial status from just, hey, I'm working hard every day, which, I think everybody is just, I'm really encouraged by just the amount of energy that I'm seeing. And I know you guys are out there working hard just to be able to just allocate some money here into the crypto space. And so we're all working hard. Let's continue to do that. And through time, what we'll notice is just our holdings will just continue to trend higher and higher and higher in value through the years. This is a long game. But if you give yourself 2.5, 3, 4 years, this is how you do some really good things, and really be able to do, like, just have more options, I'll say, in life when it comes to your finance, right? So let's kind of go back and look at some other stuff here. So I also want to take a look at, let's go to the reserve risk. So basically, to put it in simple terms, right? The time that you want to go ahead and be buying anytime we're in this green, macro wise, right? Big long-term scale, right? Now we get a little bit more detailed and we, try to find the best times within a short period, but macro wise, anywhere in this green, great time to be buying crypto. And as you can see, how you know that the market is getting overheated, super easy chart to understand, is when we pop into this red band here. That's when you want to think about, de-risking. And that's how you know we're at the top of a cycle, right? So as you see, we got up here, right? And even right when we got up here to 69K, still relatively low risk because we did not get that blow off parabola top like how we've gotten every cycle previous. So here in 2018, here in 2014, and then also here in 2013. So if you notice, there's a crazy upwards trend on the price to spike up. And that's the FOMO of everybody, all the retail and everybody trying to get in. And then that's when we're de-risking out of the market and just getting all those good juicy gains. Same thing here, 2017. We had a big rally here. We kind of came back down, tested this range, but we're staying on top. And then what it looks like is we're kind of heading up higher and getting on top of this range. And then so the question is, okay, well, what potentially could the top of the market look like? And things are looking good, guys. So we are going to go ahead and take a look at golden ratio multiplier. And so same thing here. And this is all on-chain data. These are just numbers into chart form. Same thing here. We look at those cycle peaks. It's when we get above this purple line here. So cycle peak, parabola top. Same thing here, here, and here. So we experienced a little bit of overheating, and then we kind of adjusted down. We bounced off, and then we bounced below it, right? And so let's kind of just follow just the top of this purple line if when things get overheated. And as of today, as you can see, this line is trending higher. That would put the overheat price for Bitcoin at about $140,000. And so that's what we're in the game for. We are waiting until we get up to those levels, and through time we'll get there. So if you want to zoom in and kind of see, right, we've been spending all this time below it. And then so this is a crucial level of where we're at now, because what we like to see is for us to just go ahead and use this as support here where we are currently, this 46K, and then go ahead and make our way upwards and trend towards this next section here. And if we get back to this next section and this green line here, basically, we'll be seeing, some good action here at about 70K Bitcoin, and that'll put us right back up to all-time high. And then the goal for the parabola top is to break that and then keep ascending the different levels. And so if we kind of go back, right, this is the story of Bitcoin. Goes to these tops, comes to get these major lows, and it breaks through these levels, readjusts, come back to lows, top, come back to lows, hits the level, another low. Next thing is we got to break through these levels and get back to that top. And yeah, so, things are looking pretty good at a very, much lower risk point to be buying stuff. But within like the immediate term, we want to just kind of be a little bit patient and see what Bitcoin's going to do in the short term. But yeah, crypto is looking good. We got a lot of good stuff kind of pumping. And so, me, I'm always looking at all these different things. Got some other stuff in the tuck that, I'll be discussing with you guys probably here this next week. But as you can see, everything is in the green for the past 7 days. And then so the narrative, as we all know, Ethereum outpaces Bitcoin. So this is a 2-to-1 outpace. But as we also know, these other strong altcoins that we're talking about here, and things that I've been kind of trying to get you guys to look more into and try to purchase at these lows. Solana, right? Up 38% the last week. Luna, if we want to extrapolate that out to the last month, Luna is up crazy in the last month, about like 70-80%, but up 20% this last week. AVAX is always another strong one. AVAX, Polkadot, these layer ones, right? And as you can see, VeChain. So that was the coin that I actually put in most recently in the group about a week ago, right? Now saying, hey, at these prices, VeChain does these just crazy parabola just pumps when Bitcoin and Ethereum are doing good. And now's about that time where it hit its lows and it's ready to do that. Same thing here, up 47%. So, these are all coins that we've been talking about for some time here. And as you can see, Phantom steadily gaining 21%. And we're dealing with coins, same thing, Thorchain. Now they're number 46. They were, and as you can see, the market cap, they've been getting a lot more liquidity into the coin at 3 billion. They were down in the 70s. And so now they're ascending. And so what we do is we track these coins to see how they're performing through time and which coins are continue to ascend on this chart or this group of coins here in this top 100. And typically, when you stay within the top 100, you're fairly safe. You're not getting into anything too crazy speculative, right? And so here we have CoinGecko.com if y'all want to come over here and look at that. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got for you guys. And I hope everybody's doing well. And let's continue to keep the energy up. I love it of what we're doing here in the Telegram group. I think we're just gaining knowledge day by day, and we're helping each other out navigate these waters, and we are all winning. And let's continue to have just a good perspective, as we grow and our financial status continues to trend higher because we're holding these coins. Always keep things in perspective. I was having a good conversation today about gratitude, right? And then so, we're talking and someone told me it's basically it's you just got to have gratitude with everything. Sometimes we may complain, for example, we may have a flat tire and we have to go buy a tire and be like, you know what, dang, I got to spend a couple $100 on this tire. Well, just be grateful you have that couple $100 to spend, right? And then so just money is a measure of gratitude. And the whole point is to be grateful for everything that we're doing and everything that we receive in this life, because that's how we can bless others when we do well with our finances as well. So I hope everybody's doing well. I probably said that a million times, but I genuinely just care for you guys so much, man. And so I'm glad that we just have such a good community here. And let's keep riding this train, baby, all the way to the moon. All right. Talk to y'all later. Peace.